Okay, before I start this lecture, I would like all of you to hit that like button so that this video can reach to many students who want to learn coding free of cost. And besides, I would like you guys to like all my videos so that my videos can reach to the masses. Let's now begin with the lecture. So I'm going to come on this code.org platform, and as you guys very well know about that we are already done with coding this sign in screen. Then this is the dashboard on which the user is going to come on after successfully logging into this app. And then there is a sign up screen which the user can make use of for registering his profile on this platform. And then this fourth screen is for updating the password, which the user can use anytime for updating his password that he must have defined for creating his profile on this platform. Now, how can we make this more advanced? We are going to come on this screen 2 for screen 1, which is the sign in screen. See, once the user is done with creating his profile on this platform, he is going to enter his login credentials over here, and when he will hit this sign in button, automatically he is going to get redirected on this beautiful screen 2. Fine. Now here I will let's define two buttons. So first of all, I'm going to reduce the size of this image a little bit. Fine. And right at the bottom, I am going to place two buttons. One is going to be the logout button. Okay, I'm changing the ID of this button to logout. And the second button is going to be for delete profile, with which the user can delete his profile anytime from this platform on permanent basis. Fine. And here I'm replacing the ID of this button to delete. Okay, now I am going to define a very good theme for this screen, so we can make use of this theme drop down, which is present right on the top of this design toolbox. So when you will hit this drop down, these are different options you're going to come across. So this is one of the good option you can select. Then this is also very good option. So let's go with playtime. Fine. Now coming back on this coding panel, let's define the required code for this logout button. So for that, we are going to have an uneven block in this workspace. Fine. And let's change the ID of this first drop down to the ID of this button, which is logout. So we can select this logout from here. Let's convert it into text-based coding. Now when the user will hit this logout button, I would like him to get redirected on this screen 1. Fine. So that in case if he want to log in one more time into his dashboard, so he can do that directly without going on to that sign up screen. So for redirecting him on this screen 1, we can make use of this set screen block, and we can place it over here in inside this uneven block. Fine. So this is going to redirect the user on screen 1. Fine. Now let's see what is the thing we are going to get as an output when we'll run this app. So currently these are the IDs which are present in this user's named table. Fine. Let's make one of these IDs for logging into this app. So I'm going to run this app first, and from here I am going to hit this. So this is the sign up screen which you are seeing right now on this mobile simulator. I'm going to hit this sign in with social media. So this is the sign in screen. Fine. Let's now enter this ID over here right in the first input box, and here I am going to enter the password with which I registered the profile with this email ID over here. So the password is this. Let's put it over here. Now when I will hit this sign in button, so I'm going to come on this beautiful dashboard where I'll get to see this GIF animated image and these two buttons. Now let's hit this logout button and see what is going to happen. Fine, so I am back on this sign in screen. But one thing which is looking odd to me is the email ID and the password which I mentioned for logging into this app, they are visible to me. I don't want this to happen. Fine, I don't want my password to be visible to me. I don't want my password to be visible to me when I'll come on this screen after hitting that logout button. So what I can do, I can make use of this set text property, which you can easily find in this UI control section of the toolbox. So this is the one I am talking about. Let's place it over here. So I'm going to now set the text for this component using this set text block. Now the ID of this component is password. So we need to change this ID to password first, and let's now pass a null value for this text part of this password named component. Fine. Now what will happen, if you'll run this app and come on this sign in screen and sign in with this ID. Fine, let's make use of this password. Okay,
welcome so user on your dashboard.
You're going to come on this dashboard, and when you hit this logout button, okay, this password is still visible to us. Why is it so? Are we missing something? Okay, I think the ID over here is not correct. The ID of this input box is password, but P is in small. Fine, so I'm done with making the required changes over here. Let's run this app one more time, and now I am going to enter this email address over here. Let's use this password. Sorry. Okay, so this is the ID which I am going to enter over here. Let's make use of this password. Fine, and when I will hit this sign in button,
welcome user on your dashboard.
On this dashboard, let's hit this logout button. So I'm back on this sign in screen, and now I'm not able to see the password which I inputted over here in this input box for logging into this app, right? So that's how you can define the code for the logout button. Let's reset this app. Now let's come on this screen 2 again and define the required code for this delete profile button. So how can we delete the profile of how can we help a particular user in deleting his profile permanently from this app? So the first thing that I would like to do is, the user, when he will come on the sign in screen, he is going to enter his email address over here, and his password he is going to enter over here, and when he will hit this sign in button, he is going to get redirected on this beautiful screen too. Now here I would like on this screen to get his email ID reflected on this beautiful animated image somewhere. Okay, I would like the ID of that person to get reflected on this animated image. So for that, I'm making use of this label box, and I'm putting it right on the top over here. Okay, and let's change the text to email. Fine, and I'm going to increase the font size of this label box. Let's do that. So that's how we can do it. Fine, and let's bring it in the center. So for doing that, we can make use of this text alignment property and bring it in the center like this. Fine, and let's now rename the ID of this component to U email. Fine, U is in capital. So how can we get the email of this person who is going to log in into this app? So for doing that, there is a very simple code which we guys can make use of. We need to come on the code that we have defined for this sign in button, which is there on this sign in screen. So where is that code? We need to search for that first. Okay, this is the one. No, not this one. Sign in. I'm looking for. Acha, this is the one. Fine. So when the user will hit this sign in button, this is the code which is going to get executed, right? And besides this, I would like the text of this component, fine, which is you email, to be equal to that of the text which the user is going to enter over here in this email named field. Fine. So how can we get the text from this component? We can make use of this get text property, and inside this get text block we can place the ID of this component, which is email. Okay, let's now cut this code from here, and we need to place it. Let's place it over here. Fine. Yeah. Okay, now when you'll run this app, this is what you're going to get. So I'm done with writing down the email address over here. Let's now make use of this password for logging in into this app using this ID.
Welcome
So as you
user
can
on your
see,
dashboard.
the ID is visible to us right on the top. Okay, it is getting reflected right on the top, but it is not coming properly. Why? Because maybe the size of this text box, label box is small. We need to increase the size of this label box a little bit. Let's expand it like this. Fine. Okay, so I'm done with making the required changes. Okay, now when the user will hit this delete profile button, I would like his profile to get deleted permanently from this user's named table. How can we do that? Let's come on this coding panel and define the code for this delete profile button we have placed over here on this screen too. So I'm going to convert it into block based coding first, and from this UI control section, let's pick up this uneven block and drop it over here. Fine, right from the first drop down, I'm going to select the ID of this delete profile button. So the ID is delete. When the user will hit this delete button, what should happen? So the first thing that I would like to do is I would like to fetch the records of the ID which is going to get reflected over here. Okay, the records which are present in the table named users against this ID which is going to get reflected over here when the user will come on this dashboard. Fine. So for doing that, we can make use of this read records block, and I'm going to put it over here inside this uneven block. Let's convert it into text-based coding again and replace this my table with users, because users is the name of the table where everything is getting stored, right? Okay, now in order to fetch the details which are present in this users named table against this ID, fine, what we can do, we can write down this code. So we need to check it for this text, right, which is going to get reflected over here. So that's the reason I need to mention the ID of this component over here. If you don't know why I have written this code over here, do check out the previous online coding classes. Definitely you will come to know about the reason. Fine. Now let's define the required code over here inside this for loop. Okay, so how can we delete the records of this user? That's what we need to define the code now here inside this for loop. So for that we can make use of this delete record block. Let's select it and put it over here inside this for loop. Fine, so I would like to delete the records from this users named table. Fine, so I am going to copy this users from here and let's place it over here. Now this delete records work on IDs. Okay, so I need to fetch the ID from this users named table of this email. Okay, how can we do that? So it's very simple. If you have attended my previous lectures, definitely you would be knowing about this code that I have defined over here in between these two curly brackets. So this is a code which is going to pull up the ID part. This is the ID part. We don't have to define the code for getting these IDs generated. They get automatically generated, as I've told you in the previous lectures also. Whenever a table gets created on the data browser, so for every record, these IDs gets generated automatically on the data browser. Fine, let's now come back on this coding panel. Fine, so this is the code which is going to delete all the records which are present in this users named table for this ID. Okay, now once the records are deleted, I would like the user to go back on the sign up screen, so that in case if he want to access, if he want to create his profile again on this platform, he can do that. He can make use of the components which are there on the sign up screen for doing the same. So let's make use of this set screen block again and put it right inside this on event block, just after the point where this read records is ending. Fine, so what is the name of that sign up screen? It is screen 3. So let's change this 1 to 3. So this is going to help us in redirecting the user on this sign up screen. Besides, I would like to make it more interactive. So as you guys know, we will be adding this play speech block to this on event block over here. Fine, and let's come down, and here inside this play speech block, in between these two double inverted commas, let's write down your profile has have been deleted successfully. Okay, so this is what the user is going to hear once he is done with deleting his profile. Let's now quickly check whether this code is going to give us the correct output or not. So I'm running this app, and let's come on this data part. Fine, so at present these are the profiles which are present in this users named table. So let's come on that sign in screen and sign in with this ID, nevi@gmail.com. So I'm going to place it over here right on the top. And what is the password? This is the password. So let's make use of this password. I'm putting it over here. Now when I will hit this sign in button,
Welcome user
I'm
on
going
your
to come
dashboard.
on this sign in screen, and as you can see right on the top, Nevi's ID is getting reflected. Fine, so let's hit this delete profile button and see what is going to happen.
Your profile have been deleted
So
successfully.
as you can see in real time, the profile of Nevi has got successfully deleted. Now if you will again try to log in with these login credentials, you will not be able to do that. Why? Because there is no profile with this ID present on this user's named table. That is the reason we guys are getting this invalid credentials thing getting reflected right on the top of the sign in screen. Okay, so that's how you can make an advanced login system. Fine, now you guys can go ahead and ask me whatever queries you have in your mind, and please do like and share this video, so that the students who want to learn coding, who are seeking for a good channel on which they can learn coding for free, can get the benefit of these online coding classes. Yes, is there any query? Is there anything I can help you guys with? Yes, so is there any query, is there any issue, is there anything which you guys are not able to understand, then you're most welcome to ask me the same so that I can sort it out. Okay, so I think everything is clear to you guys. Thank you very much for joining me in this lecture and have a great day. Bye bye.